Now, though, on the couch with me is Dr. Eva Fisher. On the couch for a different reason. Normally, I would be lying down and saying, well, I'll tell you. But we're talking about empty nest syndrome. I think before I get into the syndrome, I want to ask you, what is an empty nest?
Yeah, an empty nest is a normal stage in the development of a family. In the lifespan of a family, an empty nest will inevitably happen at some point.
Okay.
Or you want it to happen at some point. It's a good thing. When a grown child leaves the home, the nest will be empty. The little birds have flown away, and now it's just the parents that have been a couple before.
Okay. So then let's go into what is empty nest syndrome then.
Well, an empty nest syndrome is the feelings of sadness, grief, or loss that can develop after the child leaves home. So in most cases, most parents are able to navigate that very well. They are able to celebrate, like sometimes they say, yay, we got a new bedroom, now we can make the den. But other times
that was my parents, just like happier than you could imagine.
Yes, but there are other problems that can develop, like mood problems that can come up, and that's not normal. So
what's that? Why does that develop in some people?
Some people are more prone to the pessimistic side of life, let's say. Okay. Some people are born optimists, some seem to be more drawn to the things that they're losing, the losses in life. So if you have symptoms of sadness, you can't shake your feelings of weepiness, if you have 2 weeks back-to-back of unremitting sadness, you have trouble sleeping, loss of appetite, lose your interest in things that used to be pleasurable, then you have a problem and it really needs to be attended to.
That's clinical depression, I think, that you just defined there, right?
Those are the symptoms of clinical depression that empty nest syndrome can lead to if it's not going in the normal, healthy way.
Then I think it's natural to ask, now that we know how the things you need to look out for, how do I protect against it? Yeah. Do you prepare before the children leave? Children, I say, adult children leave the house?
You know, it often happens that I get couples in my practice that come because their children have grown and they have suddenly realized that they have nothing in common. They've led parallel lives, they've basically shared an address, and they have nothing to talk about except the children. So one of the things you need to do to protect yourself is to take care during the child-rearing years, to do fun things like have a date night, make sure that you go on couples holidays, just the two of you, make it a fun thing. Don't even tell anyone where you're going. You know,
I like that.
Take it off for the weekend and make sure you get a good babysitter, but make it a mystery. You can play too. Have family vacations, but also have your own vacations too, even if it's just for an overnight, but do have fun. Make sure that when you have arguments that and it's important to argue, by the way. A good marriage does have arguments. There will be differences of opinion, and that's normal. There's nothing going wrong. You're just growing up together. You're learning that you're different people. That's important. The only thing that doesn't happen often is that people don't go for couples therapy early on. They tend to do for couples counseling for about 5 to 7 years. So by the time we get them in our practice, things have gotten so embedded and they've lost so much hope that we have a much harder time. So seek couples counseling earlier. Make sure that you listen to your partner, don't interrupt, listen to something that they're saying, even if you don't like what you're hearing, learn to calm yourself so that you could listen and you can be a good listener and they could do the same for you.
Does learn to calm yourself mean sometimes stepping away from the situation and revisiting after you've both calmed down?
Time out, we're good, take a break.
Well, we know how to give timeouts, we're parents, right?
Right, but you don't do it for yourself, so that's the hard part.
All right, so, and now what happens if, despite all of those best efforts, or even I haven't done those things to, kind of shield myself against empty nest syndrome, and I do find myself in the situation you described earlier where I can't shake the sadness, I'm not sleeping well, life is so different without the children around. What's our next step?
Well, the most important thing to do is to immediately call your family doctor and ask for a referral to a registered psychologist. Make sure that the person you're asking for has training in family systems therapy and in mood disorders and understands couples relationships. And last but not least, if your family and your friends are telling you that you should talk to someone, they're probably right.
I've never understand people who resist that. They think of it as a weakness. I think going to seek help for your mental state is a strength. That's someone who's very strong, who's willing to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I don't have this on my own. I'm going to go get some help.
Well, I think that that's a good sign of a strong ego. That a strong ego is not a big ego.
Right.
A strong ego is a resilient ego, an ego that can reflect on itself and be able to know when things are not, when your body is not acting the way it normally does, and when your feelings are not the way they normally are. Something's not right.
One last real quick question. I know a lot of older parents whose children have left, they downsize. Does changing your abode help? Or is that just a stopgap?
Sometimes changing your abode can be a big stressor.
Good point.
So when you're ready,
yeah.
if you really want to downsize and you're ready for it and you are not rushed, then it can be a good thing.
Dr. Eva Fisher, thank you so much for the advice. And you can find out more, ottawa-psychologist.net for more information. If you aren't doing the happy dance when the kids are finally off and have their own jobs, then maybe you need to think about how you're feeling in those situations. Thanks very much for stopping by.